With the 12th pick in the 2001 draft, the St. Louis Rams select Damion Lewis, defensive tackle from the University of Miami.
This is always interesting in a draft when a major league contender and only 1 year removed Super Bowl champion can make an impact with picks or trades or both, like the St. Louis Rams are hoping to right here. And so Damion Lewis, well, this just in, Joe. Defense, defense, defense.
Total philosophical change. They're changing their entire defensive philosophy. Mike Martz was not happy with the play that he got. He wasn't happy with the effort. He told me this week, he said, 2 things I'm going to change defensively. We're going to change the attitude of this football team, and we're going to add speed. You know how much he loves speed, Mort. He loves on the offensive side of the ball. That's why they went for Trump candidate last year. Now you can see it again on the defensive side.
And he fits this Lovie Smith scheme.
But their pick at 29. And now, by the way, in case you were wondering if Miami would have first-round pick 7 straight years, we did it 2 in a row. We went from Dan Morgan to Damion Lewis, and I think, Mort, you hit it right. And Mel, let's look at him. The quick scheme of the Tampa Bay style that Lovie Smith is going to play, and Damion Lewis certainly has that, doesn't he?
He's a great athlete. You saw him drop back into coverage at zone blitz package. He averaged 14 points, 11 rebounds as a basketball player in high school. And you go back to his redshirt freshman season, led all Miami defensive linemen with 72 tackles. Very instinctive, very quick. It's not a 3 technique. It's one of those penetrating defensive tackles. And you look at this past season, got broken foot early on in that loss to Washington. Had it not been for that injury, which hampered him most of the year, Damion Lewis would have been in the top 5 to 10. But talked about how important it is to get value. Forget about the senior year. Go back to those other seasons, and Damion Lewis was one of the best in the business.
You know, just a quick point there, attitude. We talk about the change in attitude. Here's a kid that plays with an injury.
Right.
I mean, those are the kind of people that you want on your football team. Guys that don't look for an excuse to leave, but guys that want to stay and play.
I don't think you can ever go wrong with Miami defensive linemen. Never can go wrong with the University of Miami defensive linemen.
In the war room, there was basically no debate, and that's one reason why they made the pick for Damion Lewis so quickly. However, 2 picks earlier, there was a huge sigh of relief when Green Bay selected Jamal Reynolds. That's because the Rams had 3 guys rated right there: Dan Morgan, Jamal Reynolds, Damion Lewis. They had a feeling that Carolina would go for Morgan, so when Jamal went and they knew that they could still get their guy Damion Lewis, they were very, very relieved. They also looked back at when San Francisco took Andre Carter and thought there could be a run of defensive linemen. So definitely got their man in Damion Lewis, the Rams did.
Sulphur Springs, once known as the dairy capital of Texas, is located along the western edge of northeast Texas, halfway between Dallas and Texarkana. The town had an approximate population of 14,000 residents when Damion Lewis was growing up. It's the type of small town where things are done on a handshake, and a person's last name goes a long way because the residents know the families there. Damion Lewis was born on March 1st, 1978. Much of his childhood was spent around his grandparents' farm, a 580-acre ranch with 200 head of cattle. He'd haul hay and pick peas. Real work, he called it, things that make a man strong. He also had his hobbies, which were mainly bass fishing and hunting. And of course, he had sports. Lewis was a multi-sport athlete who, in addition to football, also played basketball and ran track and field. There were football legends nearby. Hall of Famer Forrest Gregg was just down the road. Damion Lewis attended Sulphur Springs High School, the class of 1996, and played varsity football for head coach and athletic director James Cameron for 3 seasons, 1992 through 1994. Coach Cameron passed away of a heart attack in April of 1995.
And everybody wants to be a winner, and everybody wants to know how you can win, and the ingredients for being a winner, and playing the sport and whatever. And so that's what I did. Everybody wants to know, how do I win? And I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but what we did, we went into the background and went back the various years that we've been back. I brought back people when I was the head coach at McKinney, and when I was the head coach at Howard Payne University and Angelo State University and Rockwall and Kilgore and here. And we talked about and had every one of them get up and preface this a little bit about some things they could expect. And we titled it, well, the one I did last spring was be a winner, can we win 4 in a row? Sure, it helps to coach a bunch of great athletes, but when you have a bunch of average athletes, or even below average athletes, that learn to give of themselves and learn to play with this unity and give of themselves. And I can't make I cannot emphasize too strong the importance of giving of yourself. People don't have any idea how much you got to give. They don't even have any idea where it starts. People think that I've given everything I got. They hadn't given 1/20 of what they can give. They have so much to give. I've learned this down through the years in coaching that I've had kids, I've lost my star player, and I think we're out. No way. And I put in another guy reluctantly, and he goes out there and does a great job, and I feel like a fool. You know, you call a kid's name and put him up there. Some will respond and some won't. I guess that the greatest coach I've ever, to me, the greatest coach that ever lived on this earth was a high school coach in Brownwood, Texas, named Gordon Wood. He won 400 and I think 8 games in his career. You want to figure that up, if he coached 40 years and went undefeated every year, that'd be 400. You want to put that in perspective. And when I was at Howard Payne, he was the football coach at Brownwood High. And I saw some of his kids. He saw what he was playing with. And he's beat me twice in semifinals. Both times I had better players and he had a better team.
So you from Texas, and Texas is big football.
Yeah.
You know, and tell us a little bit about that. You know, football. Why football? And you know, how did you even get started? And when did you really feel that you were good enough to go to the next level, whether that's Miami or even the NFL?
Well, you know, growing up in Texas, I mean, football is religion. You know, you grow up, and I grew up 80 miles outside of Dallas, and you grow up watching the Cowboys. So I grew up a Cowboys fan, and you know, no, you can't hold the game, man. It is what it is.
Okay, I got you.
Hey, we like them Cowboys. And I'm pretty sure before the Panthers got here, probably half this room was Cowboy fans.
Yeah, I was.
High five. See, I knew I liked this man. So, you know, just growing up in that atmosphere, and you know, Friday Night Lights was huge. If you had a decent high school football team, it's the best time in the world for a robber to go rob a bank. It's on Friday night when the team playing out of town, because the town is gone. Only person there is one little old deputy sheriff sitting around trying to take care of a 14,000 population town. So, I mean, it was absolutely empty on Friday nights. We really supported our football team and followed it. So I grew up in this culture of football, and for us, you know, the older guys kind of paid it forward to the young guys. So when you're 5, 6, you know, getting old enough to go to the park and hang out like we did back in the day, you know, the older guys that were in middle school and high school kind of quarterback the younger guys and start teaching them how to play football. So that's the culture I grew up in. So my buddies that I grew up in the sandlot with, fought with, you know, played with, laughed with, cried with, we're the same guys that grew up together, playing together, and started to play on the same football teams when we got to middle school and the high school. So that camaraderie started at a very young age. And so that kind of starts the breeding or the duplication system of the whole football era or the football passion that you have growing up in the state of Texas, which makes it a lot different than, you know, some of the other states that don't carry that passion for the sport. I mean, to be a football fan or to be a high school fan in Texas, you have a family who owns, you know, they have their little season tickets, and they sit there, high school, every year, and you don't buy those season tickets from that family. Those season tickets are passed down in the will. So when granddaddy dies, he passes it to his son. When son passes on, he passes on to his son. So those season tickets have been in that family for 60, 70 years. So it's entrenched in our beliefs and our love for the game to be football players, bottom line.
That sounds almost like the Gamecocks to me. Pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
That's why you don't have a great football team in college if it's not from Texas. Gotta have guys from Texas on
Back
your
off
team.
now, Dan. All right, now tell us a little bit about your spiritual background. Tell us kind of how that influenced you and where you were spiritually going through high school.
Well, even before then, my great-grandfathers on both sides of my family implanted churches in our community. One on one side of town, or one community outside of town, and the other in another community outside of town. So in my household, you grew up knowing the Lord. Now, as we grew older, as I grew up, I knew the Lord. He existed in my house. I understood some of the biblical principles and stuff like that, but I hadn't necessarily chosen to live that life. I knew how to act in church, I knew how to behave, and I knew how to put on the front, but my spiritual walk hadn't yet begun. For me, I felt like it was more in life for me because I didn't want to grow up in a podunk town. I didn't want to grow up, wanting to aspire to work at Ocean Spray or to work at Specialty Foods, which is the local jobs that everybody try to achieve or challenge doors. I felt like there was more for me, and I felt like my hometown couldn't contain what it was that I wanted to accomplish with my life. So I picked up football as a young age as a vehicle to help carry me to other places. And I think the greatest thing for us that happened, had a cousin that is from Dallas. He ended up running in the '92 Olympics in Barcelona. He ran the 400 hurdles. So that showed us as kids that there was more and we could accomplish more and that we are bigger than our circumstances. So I didn't look to Christ to help me fulfill that. I looked to football, which was our other religion, floating around my hometown. And I mean, we just gonna be honest here, the facts are the facts. You're looking for a way out of the situation you're in, and your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents are showing you the way. But as a child, you have to learn your way. That's why everybody comes to Christ in a different format. Your walk is not your mom's walk. Your walk is not your grandfather's walk. Your walk is your walk. And I had to learn what my walk was going to be as I grew up and moved forward with life. Now, did I have a foundation for where I am today? You absolutely right, I did. But I had to find out how to implement that foundation into my everyday life.
Now tell us a little bit about how you ended up at Miami then, and then kind of how your spiritual journey proceeded to kind of make it your own faith in that process. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I go through high school. My sophomore year, I was a newcomer of the year in our district. My junior year, I was ranked top 5 defensive lineman in the state of Texas. My senior year, I was the #1 defensive lineman in the country, defensive player of the year in the state of Texas. So had a lot of accolades to go. Had a very successful high school football career. I was one of the #1 recruits coming out in the country. Andy Katzenmeyer and all those guys, we all came out the same year. So I ended up choosing to go to the University of Miami. I'm coming from a small town in Texas with 14,000 people, and you get on the plane and you're flying in, and for some odd reason when you go to land in Miami, it's clouds in the air, but then they come out and they go over the ocean and they come in right over South Beach. So it just opens up. So you see the white sands and you see the white buildings, and then you get off the plane, you get into the airport, and the first thing you hear when you get out to get into the car, you hear them Congo drums going through, the little salsa music. So I'm like, oh my goodness, they got vibe down here. So we jump in the car, and what does Butch Davis and Bill Miller, where do they take us? We don't go to campus, we go to South Beach. So we get in the car, we go down to South Beach, you get out, and I mean, it's like a crayon box, there's all this culture going on. I say, hey man, they don't grow up like that in Texas, brother. Good Lord, what is going on around here? So that's how I ended up in Miami. So, but the technical answer is hey, is I had a great legend. You had Warren Sapp come out of school that we had a lot of guys, Dana Stubbs, the list goes on, Russell Merlin, a bunch of defensive linemen come out of this university and go on and have successful NFL careers. And my destination when I was coming out of high school, I wanted to play on Sunday. If I'm gonna do this, I may as well go do it and try to do it the right way. And I felt like University of Miami fit that mold of what we wanted to do. And the guys that I met on my trip that I ended up playing with there is we kind of created a culture. I mean, that's a whole nother story on what happened there, but yeah. So, we had a guy, Steve DeBartolation, who put on Bible studies and stuff like that, and we'd do it in different apartments, around campus. So I stayed plugged in. I always kept an ear in. I always kept a foot in the door and was always listening, and I always stayed close to my faith, even though I hadn't fully committed to making that walk with Christ. And I mean, it just continued.
Tell us the story about this Ray Lewis story I've been hearing about.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Said, hey guys, this stays right here, right? Confidential, because he said he couldn't tell. He can only tell the story in Brazil on the other side. So, but hey,
thank you, Mr. Cross. Appreciate it.
Kind of think of this as being in Brazil, man, but it'll stay right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is being recorded though, right, Eric? Okay, good.
Yeah, move yours down.
Help me out here, bro.
All right.
All right, we just ran out our allotment time for that Ray Lewis.
There we go.
All right, thank you.
That should be.
Okay, so my freshman year in college, we just went through the season, and it's the off season, and at UM, a lot of the guys come back and come work out at the university. So the night before, this is before my save days, we hung out with Mr. Lewis. Went out on the town with him. Yeah. Okay. And an argument ensued before the night was over. I mean, it wasn't nothing serious, but it was just kind of like a little whatever. It was just a little friendly fire. So he gets into the locker room the next morning, and we all in the locker room getting ready to go work out, and he taps me on my shoulder. And we had a circle. We had a big screen TV. We got a little couch kind of shaped in a symbol of the U, and then we had a big U emblem in the middle. Now, I just finished my freshman season, so now I have the privilege to sit on the couch, because as a freshman, you can't sit on the couch, you can't come across, you can't do none of that. So you got all the freshmen sitting there, and they all on the couch, so he come tap me on my shoulder. He called me out in the ring. So, so we stand up, and I'm like, what's up? So we lock up, we wrestling. We going to 5, that's the deal.
5?
Going to 5.
Okay.
For the best 3 out of 5 win.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so this little old dude, man, this little bit of linebacker, I'm finna do this dude, I'm finna dumb him up. I grab him, and next thing you know, I'm doing the helicopter. He got me up like this, and he twisted me, slams me on the couch. He said, that's 1. I said, okay. So I rushed him again. I'm gonna go lower this time. Go lower, grab him, same results. He got me helicopter. So then he dumped me on the couch. He said, that's 2. I said, okay. So this next time I faked him, went in, grabbed him, body slammed him. Boom, I said, that's 1. You know what I'm saying, that's 1. So we get up again, and then next thing you know, I try to do the same thing, and he grabs me by my foot and does this little wrestling move, and next thing you know, he pins me again. He said, that's 3, Rook, and walks out of the locker room. And then my boy comes to me and said, hey, he ain't never lost a wrestling match. I said, you didn't think to kind of give me that information before I jump in the circle with this dude?
When Lewis arrived at the University of Miami in 1996, the program was struggling during NCAA sanctions that placed the school on probation for 3 years and levied the school with both a 1-year ban on competing in postseason play and a reduction by 13 in new football scholarships for the 1996-97 academic year and by 11 for 1997 through 98, which meant little margin for error. Lewis was one of the first big-time recruits to attend the University of Miami under Butch Davis. Butch Davis was hired as the head football coach in January 1995 after Dennis Erickson departed for the NFL's Seattle Seahawks. Davis had previously served as an assistant coach for Jimmy Johnson at Miami from 1984 through 1988 and followed Johnson to the Dallas Cowboys to serve as the team's defensive line coach from 1989 through 1992 and the defensive coordinator from 1993 to 1994. In 1995, Butch Davis's first season at Miami and the season prior to Damion Lewis's arrival, the team withdrew from bowl consideration, making it the first time that Miami had failed to appear in a bowl game since the 1982 season. Damion Lewis quickly found out college football was a lot tougher than high school. Lewis and his fellow freshman teammates went through some difficult growing pains. He was getting pushed around by bigger, stronger, and more experienced players and was ultimately redshirted his true freshman season.
It was more than just the players that were impressive. It was the coaching staff.
I'll be the first one to tell you that all of the things at the University of Miami could not have been accomplished without a great supporting staff.
It was Greg Mark. It was Don Solinger.
Donnie Solinger, who had a terrific resume with running backs.
Don Solinger is bar none probably one of the best
running back coaches in collegiate football.
It went further than football. You know, he'd get a call from his wife and put you on the phone with her.
My relationship was with Coach Kehoe.
Arthur Francis Kehoe, the offensive line coach, infamous for his excitement and his rhetoric, would always tell me every morning stretching, "Thank your lucky stars that I pulled you out of that or the armpit of Ontario that you call home, and you get to wake up at Miami every morning of every day. You could thank me for that."
He was like a father figure, you know. I see him more than, you know, I see my own family.
Tommy Moffitt in the strength and conditioning room.
A lot of us were big Rocky fans. Coach Moffitt would always play the anthem in the weight room, try to get you going a little bit. It was kind of our theme music.
In 1997, as a redshirt freshman, the program was at its lowest, having lost more than 30 scholarships. Lewis was among the young freshmen taking their lumps during a frustrating 5-6 season that included a 47-0 whipping against Florida State at Tallahassee.
You tired? Now, stand up! You got a sprained SI joint. It ain't shit. It's like a sprained ankle. But you got to get over it. Don't feel like a cripple, please. Man, this is college football. It ain't supposed to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would be out here. Your body's supposed to be sore and tight. All right? You're supposed to have tight backs and sore knees. All right? You want to be 5-6? Hell no. All right then.
The 5-6 season, it was a learning process. You know, there was a lot of things that was going on, and we was just trying to get the program right.
But the same freshmen who were getting pushed around would eventually grow up. Lewis got bigger, stronger, and better. By his senior year, he had emerged as the dominant defensive tackle Miami fans hoped for.
And they really didn't have the tone in the locker room. The tone in the locker room was really set by your Edwin James, your Nate Websters, Damion Lewis, those guys. We didn't allow weakness. You know, you came in, you worked, you ran, you lifted, you got stronger, you competed in practice, all that every day.
Pride in the tradition of the University of Miami Hurricanes, guys, will not be entrusted to the timid or the weak.
Hey, if you didn't make all your times, guys would hang out on the field and not want to come in the locker room. I'm talking about big guys, offensive linemen, would not come in the locker room. Because if they did, oh man.
When you didn't make it through and you came to hang out, you know, in the apartments during the summer, or even come back in the locker room after we done just went through the hardest workout, you know, of the week on a Friday, and now you want to come in and be smiles, that wasn't happening.
In his Miami career, he played in 43 games, starting in 41, and had 220 tackles, 15.5 sacks, 4 pass breakups, 5 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. Widely considered to be the best University of Miami football team not to compete in a national championship game, the 2000 University of Miami Hurricane season added to the legendary and controversial lore of one of the most hated and celebrated teams in NCAA college football history. Damion Lewis led a stout defensive line that helped turn the program around and led the Canes to an 11-1 season, 7-0 in the Big East, to finish as conference champions and the number 2 ranking in the final AP poll. Despite beating the number 1 and 2 ranked football teams during the 2000 season and losing only 1 game, the BCS computer model, which chose the 2 finalists for the NCAA college football season, did not select the University of Miami to play in the national championship game, which some fans and analysts thought was a flaw in the BCS. The lowest point of the season was the second game 29-34 loss to the Washington Huskies at Husky Stadium that was televised on ABC, which ultimately cost Miami a chance to play in the BCS National Championship game. They were invited to the Sugar Bowl, where they defeated Florida 37-20.
Here's the defensive line with William Joseph and Damion Lewis. Numbers 92 and 94 playing very well off the start.
The Gators will try to mix it up, but you know Steve Spurrier. He's got to get long and get there as soon as he can. Grossman looking deep. Comes down the near side. He's got Gaffney open. Gaffney incomplete, out of bounds. Out of bounds on the reception.
Officiating crew. They were all over it. Play fake to Graham again. Intermediate route, and he misses Gaffney again.
Bo Carroll goes into the pass formation way deep. You don't even know what he was throwing at that time. That was over the safety's head as he faced a rush back there. And now Grossman is a little bit gimpy. He appears to be okay now as he trots off to the side, probably more embarrassed than anything.
Well, Brent, he was knocked down on his first 2 throws, and if I thought there was one matchup that favored Florida in this game, the biggest one would have been their offensive line against Miami's defensive line. So far, Miami has knocked him down twice in this game and forced both bad throws.
Santana. Now let's check in with Jack Harut. Jack, was Grossman shaken up down there?
Yeah, Brent, when he came off to the sidelines, he was favoring his right ankle. In fact, he was limping on it just a bit. He has not, and I repeat, not sought any medical attention, however.
And you can see that's the third down play, but he gets rolled over just as he lets the ball go.
I think I saw big Damion Lewis blowing that offensive line up that time. He usually plays well in big games.
So far, the pass rush from both teams are dominating the quarterbacks.
And that's why we've got these stats. Dorsey's 1 of 4. Grossman was 0 of 3.
And Brent, I got to say, that surprises me. These 2 offensive lines I thought would be able to handle the pass rush.
The second down and 10 for Grossman and the Gators. In the middle of that Florida offensive line is under fire. Play fake, fires high. Incomplete, and off the hands of Mike Rumpf. You bet, great job. Damion Lewis is off to a huge start. Second down and 3 now. Damion Lewis trying to get off, and he does beautifully. I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Number 92 is a big-time defensive lineman. We've been talking, Gary, for the last few weeks that this Miami defensive line is not as good as it once was. But I'm going to tell you, number 92 can play with those
He does. He just kind of runs around the block right here. I don't think Florida, the middle of Florida's offensive line, is the strength of their football team. It's more their tackles. That time, David Jorgensen trying to block back the center ran right through it, did Big Lewis.
We had last call with Cortez Kennedy last night, and he couldn't have done that any better. Third down, one of many of the fellows from both teams here tonight. Right at the mark.
I agree with you, Gary. Second down and 10. Now, Bo Carroll is on the field. They send him out and run back with Graham. They lined up Graham as a fullback that time, trying to ambush the defense.
Hit on the release. Is there a flag? You bet there is.
Caldwell cut and couldn't get around Philip Buchanan, who interfered with him on that play. There was no question about it.
And Brent, there's probably not much Buchanan could have done. The ball was thrown behind him and short, and Grossman got hit right at the end by, I think it was by Lewis again. Was it Lewis again? What a great game this guy's having. That produces the short pass, but you can see Buchanan, he has no idea it's short. And when Caldwell tries to get it, it's going to cost him 15 yards. Not much you can do on that one. Just give it a little smile.
Big difference from the NFL. They don't give them the spot of the interference. It's the 15, and they'll take it inside the 25. Gary, which rule do you like better, the NFL or the college?
I think the NFL should add a rule. I think it needs to be a judgment. If they clearly pull him down, give it at the point. But if it's just incidental, make it a 15-yard penalty. Give the referees another one to blow.
First snap for Grossman.
You buying that one?
Yeah, I like it. Okay. Good idea. Here comes Graham. And tough yard that time. And you see big Kenyatta Walker, number 78. Some of the defensive players, Blades there.
I mean, it was Damion Lewis again blowing up this play inside, and he's playing like Sapp and Cortez Kennedy over there. I think those guys must have told him that we signed checks for $6 million. I mean, we get paid $6 million bonuses. Come in and dominate. Watch number 92 again. In the backfield. All night he's been playing with effort like that. And I think the big guys on the sideline said, Damion, you want to make some money? Just get in the backfield. You can make money like that guy right there, Warren Sapp.
Second down. Watching him short drop. Quick fire. High and complete. Rumpf, number 8, defending Gaffney on that play, but the ball was thrown too high.
Amazing watching number 92, Lewis, just go through the middle of that Florida line. Remember, Florida State only had 1 sack in the game against Florida. Miami has pressured them, I think, more than Florida State did in the game we watched. put more pressure on the quarterback. Haven't been getting sacks, but they've been pressuring the quarterback.
What about the Associated Press?
Well, I mean, I just hope that people recognize the fact we've won 10 straight. We beat the #1 team, the #2 team, beat the #6 team tonight. I think we got a shot. I think we ought to be national champions.
Enjoy yourselves. Miami's back.
Thank you.
A class act, 37-20. Miami beats Florida tonight, the FedEx Orange Bowl.
Damion Lewis was twice selected All-Big East, second team in 1999 and first team in 2000. Scouts noted that he played with great quickness off the ball, disrupts plays at snap, reminded some of fellow Hurricane Warren Sapp, and was dedicated to studying the game and played with enthusiasm. Lewis went on to get drafted by the St. Louis Rams in the first round of the 2001 NFL Draft.
Here with my man Damion Lewis, former NFL defensive lineman and also an esteemed member of the Miami Hurricanes. We got some marvelous food right here, Damon. We got some chocolate cake. Now, let me get this right. We got barbalo and truffalo wings. We got a Godfather's pizza. Who knows what all is on this? There's so much stuff. And then we got a pretzel burger here and some sweet potato waffle fries. You can look at me and this guy right here and know it's about to be some damage.
Yeah, it's about to get physical over here. And don't forget, this got bacon mayo.
Oh my goodness.
Never heard of such.
Now, Damon, let's get straight to it. Now, we talked about you. You are a highly regarded prospect coming out of Sulphur Springs, Texas. 167 tackles in his senior as a defensive lineman. I don't know. I got to question the stat man down there. But you have Texas down there, Texas A&M. Many great schools you could have chose from. Why Miami? And you are also part of the class that helped turn things around for you. So tell me about your time in Miami and how did you know things were getting ready to turn when they went on that magnificent run?
Well, I grew up a Cowboys fan, so with Jimmy Johnson coming in, you know, and the Cowboys program turning around and the job he had done with the Miami Hurricanes while he was there, you know, that was during the time I was growing up. So, you know, kind of got engulfed into the Miami push as a kid. They came to Texas and beat University of Texas in the Cotton Bowl, and I mean, it was just one of the greatest games I've ever seen. You know, I hated University of Texas with a passion.
Wow.
So my brother's a Baylor guy. He went to Baylor, so my love for University of Texas was zero. And when they came in and beat University of Texas that way, I was like, man, I don't know what's up with these Miami boys, but they play football the way I like to play. So
now, did you see when you came there, you played with some great players, Reggie Wayne, Dan Morgan. Did you know when you guys left, after you went 11-1, did you know that that next season was going to be something spectacular?
Yes, I mean, we had so much talent all over the field, and, you know, being young and engulfed in that, you know, from 96, you know, we were a freshman class, it was 12 of us. Al Blades, Adrian James, Bo Franks, myself, you know, and we just started this culture, man. You know, we kind of got with one of the strength and conditioning coaches there. We worked more, worked out longer, did the little bitty extra things that he was asking us to do. And that kind of started forming this culture. And then when our strength coach left, we had a new guy coming from Tennessee, and the way he wanted us to work was already headed in the direction that we were going with our assistant strength coach. So we got into the weight room with this guy, really got after it, and that camaraderie of our team just really started to grow, and that really started snowballing what you guys saw in, you know, late 99, 2000, 2001, 2002.
Now, you were a first-round pick, 12th pick of the draft, St. Louis Rams. Talk about some of the pressures and expectations coming in on and off the field. What was it like being a guy drafted that high?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of the pressure that you feel, some of it is self-induced, but a lot of it, you know, you got the media, you got all these different outlets, you got the town, the city, you know, and everybody's pushing for you to be that guy. And when you come into the NFL, you know, my position kind of dictates how fast being that guy comes about. You know, some people are patient, some cities are not. And, you know, when you're coming up through a system, it always helps better to have veteran guys on that team that have been through that and can kind of help walk you through that. In our situation, a lot of us were walking through that on our own on the defensive side of the ball. But it also helped to have guys like Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, you know, Kurt Warner in the locker room, even though they're offensive, just seeing the way they approached the game, how they took their job serious was easy to transfer over for us as defensive players and being able to study and get better as athletes.
Now, you came to the Panthers, 2006. Now, you guys had a pretty good defense that year. Then in 2008, you guys went 12-4. Talk about your time as a Panther, and do you see any parallels from that time to what these guys got going on now?
Well, it all became a part of the locker room. It's always a culture, man. If the team is close, then, you know, you tend to play well. And in our locker room here in 08, we had, you know, guys who played dominoes together. You know, everything was full of camaraderie. Everything we did throughout training camp into the regular season. And when we got hot, we got hot.
In his rookie season, Damion Lewis played in 9 games with 3 starts. He missed the second half of the season after sustaining an injury in the second quarter of the Rams versus Patriots game on November 18, 2001.
Check in with Susie. She's got an injury update with the Rams. A lot of them, Susie.
Yeah, Mike, do you think that this game has taken a toll on the Rams tonight? Azahir Hakeem, sprained ankle. Leonard Little, sprained knee. Damion Lewis, broken foot. They expected great production from Mark Fields tonight. He had a great week of practice. And starting strong safety Adam Archuleta, the hard hitter, all out. Staying healthy as much a part of a Super Bowl run as anything else. Tonight, it's not looking good.
Susie has 3 starters off the defense and Damion Lewis in that defensive line rotation, so basically they've lost 4 starters.
His injury kept him out of the Rams Super Bowl 36 loss to the New England Patriots. Lewis would also miss training camp and all 4 preseason games in 2002 while recovering.
Gannon had thrown 112 straight passes without a pick until this one.
Well, when you play this style of defense, Tyoka Jackson, nope. Damion Lewis looks like he's the one that knocks it down, number 92. But when you play a defense that makes an offense throw the football short, think about it. It's going to be hard to get to the quarterback because he's getting rid of it quick. So you as a defensive lineman, you need to adjust. You've got to start making your push, and if you don't get right to the quarterback, stop, raise your hands, and that's what happened that time.
Bid to win their first of the year, and Rich Gannon goes down back at the 6-yard line. Damion Lewis, number 92. Symbolic of the kind of pressure that they've put on all day long.
Yeah, it is. Damion Lewis from the inside watching the Raider offensive lineman get confused. They both go over Grant for Grant Wistrom and allows him to get the sack.
On 3rd and 6, Gannon goes down again. Damion Lewis and Leonard Little.
Damion Lewis, last year's first-round draft pick, has battled some injuries, finally getting back into playing shape, and the last couple plays he has been or had a huge impact.
Shane Leckler.
Still, even with battling through injuries, after the November 18, 2002 Rams game versus the Bears, he was second on the team in sacks with 4. In the Rams' 21-15 victory, he had 2 sacks, 6 tackles, and 1 quarterback pressure. He told reporters that while he still wasn't 100%, it was the best he'd felt since he'd been a Ram. By his 3rd season with the Rams, after a good performance in fall camp, he was named as a full-time starter. In 2006, when he became a free agent, he signed with the Carolina Panthers. For his 10-year NFL career, Damion Lewis played in 141 regular season and 4 postseason games. The first 5 were with the St. Louis Rams. He spent the next 4 with the Carolina Panthers and his final season with the Texans. Lewis recorded 269 tackles, 23 tackles for loss, 26 quarterback hits, 15 pass breakups, 4 forced fumbles, and 5 fumble recoveries.
Play action, and that had no chance. You know, as many detractors as Jason Campbell has, one thing we have seen in this game today, more times than not, he is under enormous pressure before he even gets into a 5 or 7 stop drop.
And what's interesting is you're going to see this coming from the outside. Damion Lewis, with a little stunt, brings that pressure in
from the inside with pressure by the back or outside. Jason Campbell talked about how the thing he doesn't like about play action, as much as it's a big part of their game, he turns his back to the defense and has no idea of what's coming down and bearing down on him.
After the NFL, he coached high school football. From 2011 through 2013, he was a defensive line coach at Marvin Ridge High School in Waxhaw, North Carolina. From 2014 through 2015, he was a defensive line coach for Union Academy in North Carolina. And then from 2015 through 2016, he returned to Marvin Ridge as their defensive line coach. From 2016 through 2018, he took part in the Bill Walsh internship program. In 2018, he became a defensive analyst for Florida International University. In 2019, he was promoted to the Associate Athletic Director and Defensive Line Coach. In 2020, he became a defensive assistant for the defensive line for the Seattle Seahawks. And from 2022 through 2024, served as the interim defensive line coach for the Seattle Seahawks. He joined the Colorado Buffaloes as a defensive analyst in early 2024 and was promoted to a defensive line coach in July 2024.
Big boys up front, D-line. When we had our speech, when I talked to y'all when I first got here and had y'all in the meeting together, what did I say you had to do when you walked in this building? Check the in, right? Check it in. Being the big boys up front, we got the hardest jobs. And it's thankless. But when you check in, that means you're putting your back and your teammates' stuff on your back. And we carrying the load. When you carry the load, it don't matter. You gotta get the damn job done. There is no feeling sorry for yourself. There's no half-assing on up downs. Do your job. Do what is asked upon you to do. It ain't that hard. All it is a gut check. Hell yeah, I know you're tired. Yeah, we did a tug of war. And what? And what? Is that going to count when it comes down to the fourth quarter? Or we got to go into overtime? And we've been in a dog fight? A drag-out, knockout fight? When does it matter? That's when it matters. That's why you check in. Because there's going to come a time in the season where everybody in here, everybody in this damn indoor facility is going to be called upon to do your job. Football is about outlasting the other, period. So I don't give a damn what they do in here. Don't let a motherfucker break you, ever. You never let nobody break you. Be the last man standing. Ain't no reason for Coach Prime to have y'all out here doing up downs because we ain't doing our damn job. Bro, we playing ball. We getting ready to go do the best thing in America. We got the hottest team in America. And y'all want to let it down because you feeling sorry for yourself? Because you stayed up late? That's on you. That's on you. Get in here and get the job done. There's no reason for the strength conditioning coach to have to sit here and talk to you. No reason for the O-line coach or myself to have to give a speech. Get in the building, get your mind right, and do your damn job. Let's go.
I said go and line up. Whoever got next is fine with us. Line up. I said whoever got next is fine with us. I ain't gonna let that slide. Think you fly, huh? Me a stay wheels up, it's a ride off. Ain't no shortcut, heading to the top floors. Me and too smart to drop costs, and I got two fists, I'm a problem. Nuisance, who's with anybody not me? They losing, I'm proof that. Even when you down, keep it moving. The movement is never gonna stop, man. I do this. Go and line them up. Two, that's fine with us. Three, come and line them up. 4, 5, fine with us. Go and line them up. 2, yeah, that's fine with us. 3, go and line them up. 4, 5, that's fine with us. Go and line up. I said go and line up. Yeah, it's fine with us. I said go and line up. Whoever got next is fine with us. Line up. I said whoever got next is fine with us. Let the blood run cold and the guests know they in my world. The best of both, seen a little more. That mean the less I know. Only thing I gotta do, collect the dough. Do fire for the matches. Do the math, kid, put me in and raise the average. Savage, 0 to 100, that's the bandwidth standard. My end zone dance on your casket, can't we? 2 ruthless, I'm a problem, nuisance. Who's with anybody not me? They losing, I'm proof that. Even when you down, keep it moving. The movement is never gonna stop, man. I do this. Go and line them up. 2, that's fine with us. 3, come and line them up. 4, 5, fine with us. Go and line them up.